everybody, and welcome back to TV Talks with your girl. If you love real talk, basic drama, and breaking down these TV shows the way that we do, when you're sitting on the couch with our friends, then you already know you're in the right place. And today we are talking about Zatima Season 4, Episode 3. Now listen, I'm just gonna be honest right out the gate. This episode, not a whole lot happened, but the few things that did have me sitting there looking at my TV like, did this man really just say that? So let's go ahead and break it all the way down. Zach and Fatima preparing for the dinner party. So the episode opens up with Zach and Fatima at home getting ready for a dinner party. They're doing their usual couple routine, cooking, cleaning, talking about their plans for the evening, and for a quick second everything feels normal. But of course, because this is Zatima, peace never lasts long. Zach gets a call from the office and suddenly he has to leave and run over there because Preston needs him. Now Fatima is stuck doing everything by herself. And this is where I already start rolling my eyes a little bit because y'all know how Zach is. He means well sometimes, but a lot of the time he really moves through life like things are just supposed to fall into place for him. And honestly, they kind of do. Zach's life always gets saved. Let's talk about that for a second. Zach really has some serious luck when it comes to business. First, Bryce helped him build this real estate company from the ground up. Bryce helped him find office space, help organize everything, and really help make the business happen. Then they got into that big argument and Bryce basically loses their money. So what happens? Boom, here comes Preston, another investigator magically appearing to save the day. And I'm sitting there thinking, that really does have angel investors falling from the sky for him. This man barely has to struggle anymore because every time something goes wrong, somebody else shows up with the solution. Now, don't get me wrong, Zach has grown from where he used to be, but sometimes it still feels like life is doing him a whole lot of favors. Zach's conversation with Bryce. Now, when Zach gets to the office, we get a scene with him and Bryce, and this conversation is where things really start getting irritating. Because somehow Zach started giving Bryce relationship advice about Angela. And I'm just sitting there like, hold on, sir? Why are you the one giving advice right now? Zach starts telling Bryce that Angela might be playing him. He's basically suggesting that Bryce is doing all these nice things for her just so she'll forgive him, and that she might be taking advantage of it. But here's the problem with that logic. Bryce literally violated that woman's privacy in the worst way. This man planted hidden cameras in her apartment without her consent. Then those recordings got hacked and her private pictures and videos ended up all over the internet. That's not a small mistake. That's a serious violation. So for that to sit there and frame Angela as the one possibly playing Bryce, that conversation had me side-eyeing the screen the whole time because it really felt like that was monetizing what Bryce did. The put her in her place moment. Now when Zach gets back home, he tells Fatima about the conversation. And that's when he says something that really made me pause. He tells Fatima that he told Bryce he might need to check Angela and put her in her place. And the moment those words came out of his mouth, I said, excuse me? What place? Who decides that? Because anytime somebody starts talking about putting a woman in her place, it immediately raises red flags. That kind of mindset just feels outdated and disrespectful. And the crazy part is Fatima doesn't even push that hard on it. She kind of just listens, and that's part of the dynamic between them that sometimes frustrates viewers, because Fatima is strong and intelligent, but sometimes she lets Zach slide on things he really should be called out for. Nathan and Belinda's situation. Now let's move on over to the other messy storyline in this episode. Nathan and Belinda. Nathan is still over there at Belinda's house like he lives there. And I'm sorry, but this man has a whole wife and kids at home. If you're that unhappy in your marriage, then be honest about it and leave. But sneaking around, cheating, and basically abandoning your family, that's not the move. And to make matters worse, this man is sitting there clipping his toenails in Belinda's house like he done moved in permanently. I know that sounds small, but it just shows how comfortable he's gotten in a situation that shouldn't even be happening. Finally, Belinda tells him he needs to go. She basically says, "You've been here 3 days. That's enough." And honestly, that was the smartest thing she did all episode, because Belinda deserves better than being somebody's secret or backup option. And at some point, she's going to have to decide that she deserves more than that kind of situation. The Tony and Tyrone mysterious. Now, the one storyline in this episode that actually made things interesting involves Tony. Tony ends up talking with Tyrone, and we learn something very important. Apparently, Tyrone helped him get rid of that body from last season. Y'all remember that guy who came in trying to rob Tony? Well, that situation didn't exactly end peacefully. And now we're finding out that there were people involved in covering it up. The right there might turn into one of the biggest storylines of the season, because whenever a show introduces something like body disposal, you already know that secret is not staying buried forever. Eventually, somebody is going to find out. And when that happens, things could go messy very fast. Where is Connie? Now, another thing that had me confused this episode is the situation with Connie. Everybody is out here planning dinner parties, hanging out, living life, but nobody has checked on Connie. And that's strange, because Connie has always been one of the biggest supporters of Zach and Fatima's relationship. She was the one trying to keep them together when things were falling apart before. So for nobody to even be calling her or inviting her around, that feels a little off. Hopefully the show circles back around to that storyline soon. Jeremiah's dark moment. Towards the end of the episode, we get a quick scene showing Jeremiah, and he's clearly sprawling. He's shown in the project smoking crack, and he ends up having the vision of his mother appearing to him. Now, whether that was meant to represent guilt, regret, or his mental state completely breaking down, it definitely showed that Jeremiah is not in a good place. And whenever a character starts hitting rock bottom like that on this show, it usually means something big is about to happen. So overall, this episode was kind of slow compared to some of the bigger moments we've seen in previous seasons, but it still gave us a few important things to think about. We saw Zach showing some questionable judgment again. We saw Belinda finally setting a boundary with Nathan. We get new clues about Tony's secret. And Jeremiah is clearly heading down a dangerous path. So while this episode might not have been packed with action, it definitely set up some storylines that could explode later in the season. And you already know your girl is going to be right here watching it all unfold. Alright, y'all, that's my breakdown of Zatima Season 4, Episode 3. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Zach was wrong for the way he talked about Angela? Do you think Belinda will finally leave Nathan alone? And what do you think is going to happen with that Tony and Tyrone situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because you know I love hearing what y'all think. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video so we can keep growing the TV Talks family. Until next time, this has been TV Talks with your girl, and I'll see y'all in the next recap. Bye.